Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
Sometimes you come to the show and you just have this whole plan in your head about we're off for 2 weeks and I got so much I want to get off my chest. And yet I come in, the Cavs are on a network that mostly everyone can watch on tonight because they're on national television taking on the Giannis Antetokounmpo-less Bucks. Yes, I said that right. You get the name right. Enough people.
I'm impressed, actually.
Enough people say it for you to continue to get it right. And they're up 20 points in the first quarter. And basketball is back. And while I hate that football season is over, I don't know. I kind of feel okay the football season is over at the same time. A lot to get into right here on the Voice of Land. I am Kevin Arnold. He is Always Positive Jay. Of course, our producer extraordinaire, Peter Tulip. On the other side of that proverbial glass, we do have the game on off camera, off in the corner there. Peter's son, Jacob, watching it, keeping us up to date on it. I have to act like I'm actually looking at Jay and I'm looking at the camera. So if my eyes go this way, I'm watching basketball. Don't worry. Don't adjust your,
Don't worry.
I know where the camera is. I'm looking right at it right now. I'm looking right into all of our loyal listeners and viewers each and every single week here on the Voice of Land. Of course, we got to thank Big Play Network. Proud to be a part of the Big Play Sports Network family. LPV Productions, we are partnered with, and always thank and always shout out our friends over at Vector Technical. They'll get the right person in the right job the first time. We truly mean that. Plenty of jobs, always. Even through the snow, they're putting the signs out in front of their building, the one closest to me in Willoughby, offices over there in Willoughby. Plenty of signs, plenty of jobs, always available. So if you're looking to make a change, reach out to our friends at Vector Technical. More information to come on them during our commercial breaks tonight. But we do it to start with, I guess, the bad. And Jay, I said that to you before the show started as we were kind of going through what we're going to talk about tonight. And you're like, what's bad? And I feel like we do differ in opinion on this. But the disadvantage to when our show is, I mean, we haven't talked for 2 weeks now, but there's also 4 days removed, 4 or 5 days, because they played on Saturday, not even Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been plenty of time to digest, take in everything. News broke today.
Yeah, this show would be much different. It was literally the next day because I probably would have been more where you're at.
And we'll get into the news that broke today. You know, how much of it is actually news or how much of it is being blown out of proportion. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Cavs up 28-11 in the first quarter on the Bucks. Bucks making a little bit of a run, but hey, NBA teams always do. And the great equalizer in the NBA is a 3-point shot. We'll talk about the Bucks, the Cavs shooting a lot of threes lately. We'll talk about all that. And Jay brought a fun topic to the table. And we're going to try to get out of here within 60 minutes tonight because we have some friends of ours that are coming in they're starting to get their own podcast going. This studio space. Well, the big
Peter, tell us about this new show, Peter.
Oh, so the new show is The Side Hustle with Kyle Cornell and Double A, Anthony Alford. And it is a wrestling centric podcast. So they're basically talking.
So they better have Kevin on.
WWE, AEW, and
at some point, yes. Tonight's one of those nights where, like, as soon as the show ends, I gotta, get in the car and go be dad.
Yeah. So we basically last week we were off because I had a work commitment, and so I came in actually Thursday night, and we recorded Thursday night, and I want to say it was almost an hour and a half that we recorded. We kind of, it's not a live show. It's, live switch and they'll cut it up, but it's pretty much we start and just go to the end. And it was entertaining. I'm not a huge wrestling guy. I mean, my wrestling stuff ended like late 80s.
Same with me, pretty much.
Hulk
I had a stint in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Like Hulk Hogan, Junkyard Dog, Mr. T. I was a kid of the 80s, so that was what I grew up with. So, the Iron Sheik, stuff like that. So I'm not familiar with all the storylines, but Double A and Kyle really know like all the storylines, and it was I was entertained just sitting here listening to it. So hopefully they'll get a lot of traction and a lot of fans. It sounds like
Well, they already have a fan in me
There you
because
go.
I will tell you, I completely understand, and they probably felt like the hour and a half flew by and like they didn't talk enough because as much as that is a very specific topic and we do different topics in each segment, or we have to split up Browns when there's so much going on, or Cavs, we have to split it up between two segments. The way our show is set up, like WWE is a very specific thing that podcasts are a real thing for professional wrestling, not just WWE, but there's AEW. There's now TNA, which, TNA was a thing. Then it became Impact. Now it's back to the old school TNA that that had people like Bobby Lashley and AJ Styles at one point, Samoa Joe, some of these big names that have gone to WWE and gone back out to the indie scene. There's all of the indies that are out there, and pro wrestling is probably, it's probably has its biggest following that it's had in a long time. But I could talk with them and hopefully I do get a chance to talk to them a little bit because listen, this is the time of year, especially now into April, into beginning of April, and even through the summer when you get to SummerSlam. Now, as a pro wrestling fan, I think every pay-per-view is important. Every show is important if I can watch it, things like that. But trust me, there are lulls in everybody's season. You have that big event. WrestleMania is the big event for WWE. We're about to truly enter WrestleMania season because at the end of this month, it is the Royal Rumble where 30 men, 30 women enter. They start with 2 in the ring, then 1 comes out at a time. So you have 30 and you got to get everybody over the top rope except for one last standing person. And they get to point to the WrestleMania sign and say, I'm going to WrestleMania. I'm headlining
Ric
the show.
Flair have the record for being in the longest or something?
No.
He used to, though.
There was actually a guy that broke it last year. He started as the number 1 and stayed in until he was the last person eliminated. He goes by Gunther. He's changed his name from Walter to Gunther. He's kind of, I think he's from
Gunther.
Gunther. Yeah, I think
They made someone named Gunther beat that. No, man, you gotta have someone awesome to ask who could beat.
Trust me, this dude is awesome. Like, he's a heel right now, which means he's the bad guy for those that don't know the terminology of pro wrestling. Look, I don't want to talk Browns as much as anybody, so this is fine that we're getting off the beaten path already to start the show. But
Gunther.
He had this is the a type of guy that, he was a bigger guy to start out his career. He has like remade his body. He's remade who he is. He's gone through all of like the acting courses and all of that stuff so that you believe everything. Not that it's, again, I hate when people use the word fake, not like, who was it? I can't remember who it was, but someone in the halls of a late show, maybe it was Roddy Piper, smacked a guy for calling it fake back in the 80s, 70s or 80s.
I wouldn't say it to one of those guys.
Yeah, fake would like really get under these guys and girls' skin. And I think it still does, but not as much because everybody understands it's choreographed athleticism.
Yeah, there's a storyline to it.
Yeah, it's actual television. It's a soap opera at the same time that it's an acrobatic act.
Those guys can get really hurt too. I mean,
a girl just tore, like on these like live shows you don't see on TV, a girl just tore ACL and she's out for more than a year.
Yeah.
Because like the stunts that they are doing, like they are the stunt men and women for themselves. And those mats that you think that they're landing on are not as soft as people think that they are. There's like wood planks underneath those things. And at the end of the first quarter, Milwaukee does come back. So 32-22, Cleveland with their second unit in does not keep the energy up. So, it's going to be a tough game, even without Giannis in there. Milwaukee's a good team. They pick and choose moments of quarters, of games, game to game, when they want to play and when they don't. And I think that's why people are still questioning how real they are in the Eastern Conference. We'll talk about that more. About 5 minutes left in this segment. I think that's enough time to divulge our thoughts on this Browns game. I'm sure we lost a lot of viewers because we started talking about pro wrestling, or maybe gained some new ones. That's great. One way or the other. You can comment on Facebook at Voice of the Land. You can comment on Twitter at VT_pod. And on YouTube, we have it live there at Voice of the Land Podcast as well. Try to get to your comments as we go through. If you do comment down below of the live stream. Jay, I know you don't. It doesn't really affect you right now. I guess because I haven't had a chance to really
Let it out.
And I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to sit here, whine and cry and yell. I understand the situation. What really got me going was after the game and like within the 24 to 48 hours after, the moral victory parade that went on through social media, through microphones. Well, this team went through 4 quarterbacks and they went through all these injuries. We've talked about that all year. Why it upsets me the way this team went out. Like, I can take it. I could probably have taken it much easier, gotten through that 24-hour hurt if this team would have gone back and forth, would have been a shootout, or both defenses making plays and both offenses making plays, as I thought it would be. But you got your doors blown off with a lot of the guys that have been on their pedestal saying, we are the best defense in the league. We're the best in the world. We're the best of all time. They started reading those press clippings again, and CJ Stroud lit them up. They lit Jim Schwartz up.
See, I don't think it was about reading press clippings or getting a hold of themselves. I honestly, God, am just chalking this one up. I've watched so many football games. Sometimes people just call great games against you, and we could play them next week and probably beat them. And then the following week, it would be a close game. And maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes they were just calling like their offense coordinator had a set plan that was just way better than Jim Schwartz. They used their over-aggressiveness against our corners with double moves left and right. They knew how to beat us. Like, they were just ready for us, I felt like. And it just happens. Like, it sucks that you lose like that. And people are like, oh, it's embarrassing. I'm like, I'm not embarrassed. I didn't play. Why would you be embarrassed? Like, you didn't play.
I understand, but it's embarrassing to see that. And it's the things that happened, especially on the back end. These like pointing fingers, guys missing assignments in what was supposed to be a more aggressive back end defensive backfield. Myles Garrett really a no-show in the game. The defensive line that we had seen be ferocious, and I understand that they were different on the road. But I thought they exercised all those demons when they went to Houston the first time. While it wasn't against C.J. Stroud and the 2 big-time pass rushers that the Houston Texans have, they had different players out on the field. I thought they exercised the demons of we're not the same defense on the road when they went to Houston the first time and did what they were supposed to do against a backup quarterback that they knew, some of these players knew, because Case Keenum was here in Cleveland before. It was just to me, it was an embarrassment. And I know we disagree, and that's totally fine. I understand where you're coming from. I'm over the moral victories. I understand the situation that they were up against, and they deserve a lot of credit. And we had a lot of fun this season for everything that they were able to overcome. But you overcome all that, and that is the crap we get served? That, to me, is embarrassing.
It's like I said, I didn't play. It doesn't embarrass me at all. Like, I feel bad for them. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not on the team. When you're at games, I've been with you. You cheer. You do. The only job we have to do is to cheer. I cannot be embarrassed. I feel bad for them. Like, they should be embarrassed, but I'm not embarrassed. Like, it doesn't. I didn't play. That's not my fault.
I'm disappointed, and
yeah,
I agree.
I'd be disappointed.
Yeah,
yes.
And I agree with Kevin. I'm disappointed that with all the adversity that this team basically overcame this year, that to go out the way they did in that game. I mean, I think they were just out coached.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's
I think
their game plan was just frankly way like.
Well, I think you're calling. You can call out the
there's
defensive
there's
ends for
mistakes
not,
the Emerson not giving full effort on that one tackle on the long run. I could point, But if I go through every single game we played, there's mistakes like that. There's always when you lose like that, they get amplified like crazy, I believe.
But I
And
feel like
it makes it hurt more.
Yeah, I feel like somebody, like you said, they exploited our over aggressiveness. You know, you have Miles coming in off the end. So what do? They dink a pass right over him.
I mean, look,
And there's no one containing.
Myles Garrett wasn't there. Watch how long it took every single pass. Every pass was like 2 seconds, like boom, boom.
And Stroud,
like,
and the thing is, Stroud,
and he's going against Larry Tunsil is no joke. Like that dude is one of the best young tackles in the league. Like he's really good.
But I think you got to give CJ Stroud a lot of credit too, because
and he had a great game.
I think the whole season he's just been he's been amazing.
Well, and that was the other problem, was a lot of people were downplaying what he was going to be like. They every step of this season, CJ Stroud has been questioned. Like, a rookie quarterback. Like, that's good for a rookie quarterback, but he
That's
can't
good for
keep
any
doing
quarterback.
it. Oh, he kept doing it. Oh, but he's a rookie quarterback, so he can't do this. Oh,
but he did it.
Oh, he's a rookie quarterback, and this is a rookie head coach in their first playoff game. Guess what? No one wanted to say on the other side, yes, it was Kevin Stefanski's third playoff game, but it was only his second. And the 2 games he'd been on the sideline for in the playoffs, especially with fans in the stands. I know Kansas City wasn't nowhere near how many fans Houston had.
They almost beat Kansas City.
They almost beat Kansas City, but we have lost the 2 times that Kevin Stefanski's been on the sideline and not down in his basement. I'm not trying to say that he's not a good coach or anything. I'm just saying he still has a lot to learn about the playoffs, but he's had a little experience, and he let someone who hasn't had that experience from a head coaching job out coach him, because DeMeco Ryans is good. CJ Stroud is good. We underestimated him. We didn't give our best. And this is the second time now that Jim Schwartz has been beaten by a rookie quarterback. The last one to do so, Joe Flacco beat Jim Schwartz's defense as a rookie quarterback in the playoffs. And the Flacco fever faded out very.
See where I don't. How many teams would you expect to go anywhere with both right tackle and left tackle?
I understand.
How many teams? They not only were on their second, third, fourth. I'm pretty sure they were on a fourth.
But you couldn't say anything bad about Flacco. Flacco was going to be the one to take us to the promised land. Like, again, this cloud of and I know you're always positive, but I'm not taking a shot at that, but like this cloud of positivity that just gets surrounded with this team. And if you critique any little thing, it's like, oh my gosh, you have said the worst thing anybody has ever said in the entire world. I understand that no team should go there. They overachieved this season. But the problem is we have seen the type of effort, the culture that they were building, the grit,
That's why I'm happy. I told you this all year.
I can't be when you go out like that in the most important game. You have
lost. You have lived by. Loss.
You have lived
if
by.
You lose if it's at the end of the game and it's a kick at whatever, it's still a loss. Just like when you win, a win's a win. The same applies to a loss. I don't care if you get blown out because it still goes in an L. Hardship of football is you don't get the second chance like basketball.
I do care because they lived by the philosophy that the next game was the most important. Trying to build that playoff mentality. You showed that all year through all the adversity, and you take a poop sandwich on all of the hype, all of the energy, all of the effort that had gone through in the season from everybody involved with an effort that looked like you didn't care. You didn't think you needed to put your best foot forward to win that football game. And Houston took advantage of it and ran you out of your season.
So you're saying they weren't giving enough effort. I don't believe that. I think they were trying. There's mistakes. Like you take one play where I see dude didn't give effort. That's it. Other than that, they're all trying their hardest. They were just getting beat. You got your number one receiver is limping around.
There's no effort to tackle a guy. There's no effort to tackle a guy a tight end that no one knew about go 76 yards up the sideline with 5 guys that are just jogging, not really giving effort to go after this guy. Like, I just gave you 3 plays where effort was not given.
We'll disagree. Like,
yeah, we'll agree to disagree because Like, it's just, I'm sick of the moral victories and people like there's more. This isn't going to be like we get to start where we left off at the end of the year, this year, next year. Guess what? You have to go all through all this again. And now we got to sit through 9 months.
Fall back on what you just did this season. Like I've been telling everybody, they're going to go, look at, we got to just stay healthy. That's key number one on that team is to stay healthy. Like you can't win against playoff teams when you're this beat up. Look at all the teams left.
And now
every quarterback is the
Can
starting
Watson
quarterback.
Actually do it. Can this person come back? It's the
That
same.
happens every year. It's
Same.
whatever.
As much
This
as things
team is
change,
A lot better than
things stay the same. And now they're making changes that I don't know that they needed to make, and whether it's a big deal or not.
see what's the same.
We'll
from
talk
all
about
the
that
other years.
on the other
All right.
side. This is the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.
Whether you're looking to hire new talent or start a new career, Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that has helped thousands of job seekers advance in their career with reputable partners throughout Northeastern Ohio. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. With an above-average hire-in rate of 1 in 4 candidates, Vector works hard to connect the right person with the right opportunity the first time. Vector Technical hires for skilled manufacturing and light industrial work and is sure to have a career that you've been looking for. To learn more, visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com.
Welcome back to the Voice of the Land here on the Big Play Network, talking Browns while the Cavs game is on.
It's not distracting whatsoever.
It's not distracting at all. And our sideline reporter for the night, Jacob Telep, not doing
His job.
his job. this week.
46-25.
All right, there we go.
All right, we're back up 21. Is
Yikes.
The problem is he's trying to tell me, but he just doesn't have a mic in front of him, so I can't hear him through the headphones. So.
But we were talking Browns going to break, and news came out today that's got a lot more run than I think I would even expect, because
They fired an offensive coordinator that didn't call plays.
they fired an offensive
A
coordinator.
running
didn't-
back coach. Like I like Stump Mitchell. I appreciate him.
No,
Great beard.
just
but who cares?
if you want to know how important the Browns are to this town, I'm sure that there are
Dude.
plenty of NFL teams every single year, every single offseason where like those lower end assistant coaches, like no one even knows their name. And reporters will tweet out that this person got fired and no one will know who that is. People know here in Cleveland who Stump Mitchell is because football matters and they love his beard. His beard was the biggest thing. My job is to make sure that the team is handing the ball off to Nick Chubb. Well, Nick Chubb went out. Everyone complained that the running game wasn't the same. And some of these running backs, like outside of Kareem Hunt, like it was a very inconsistent performance out there. It was inconsistent on the offensive line. Yes, some of that had to do with injuries. But he didn't get the back end guys to always be at top form. Like if you're a great running back coach, like you're just like you're so. I'm not here to, run
I don't
some out
know.
of town, but
Tell me another running backs coach.
I don't know. But like
The running backs
that's-
coach is
that's
like
what-
it's like complaining about firing the DB coach. I have no idea who the defensive back coach is.
the
I
only
just don't care.
the only person that I've ever known as an assistant coach here at the Browns, Chad O'Shea, just because I like his name.
Bill Callahan, I know him. But
Yes,
he was
Bill
also
Callahan.
a head coach.
Yeah,
before.
like he's like a long-standing NFL person that like I kind of like
Mhm.
leave out of the group just because like he's like an exception. Like one of the bigger names in football and football lore of this modern era that a lot of people in NFL circles knows is just an offensive line coach for the Cleveland Browns. I don't know. Like I said, out of like just the no unknown people that we always know here in Cleveland, I like Chad O'Shea because of his name. I don't know if he's actually a good wide receiver coach because the only wide receiver to make plays is Amari Cooper consistently. We didn't get a lot out of Elijah Moore this year. David Bell flashed a little bit finally 2 or 3 years in. Like, so I don't know how much he's actually doing to develop these guys. Like you expect those type of coaches to help with your development. Kevin Stefanski's got hands dipped in so many different jars trying to be the leader of this football team as a head coach. He tried to take on more of that head coaching role, but still was the offensive play caller. I think the most shocking piece of all this is Alex Van Pelt. But then people on airwaves today are bringing up, excuse me, the fact that, he said that Driscoll was the backup quarterback moving forward. Pretty sure he was the emergency third quarterback on Saturday, and PJ Walker was the backup quarterback when the inactives came out.
Yeah, football teams are weird. Like, if you say something like that, they get really kind of mad about it.
And Stefanski likes to keep things all.
Yeah, and then you ask me, and I'm sorry you keep saying this, but I'm be like, he said that. I don't care. Like, that's exactly that's how I would react to it. I'm like, oh, you said that, but it's not true. I'm like, well, I don't care. It doesn't affect my game plan by any means. The media might get mad because they got wrong information. Whatever.
Right.
But yeah, but I just know, and like you were saying, like Stefanski doesn't like any of that stuff out. Like NFL teams are weird like that. They're so secretive.
Yeah. So I don't know where the disconnect was. There's like, and it's the team has not officially said that these guys are gone. But running back coach Stump Mitchell, TC something, McCartney maybe, the tight ends coach. Everybody will say that, everybody's saying like, well, why did you get rid of him? Because like people are like all upset that we got rid of him because Njoku had his best season. Njoku really started to come on when who was behind center? Joe Flacco. And I guess DTR to a certain extent. Like he was kind of that safety valve for the new guys coming in. The first half of the year when Watson was in there, he wasn't there.
Then I heard, I'm pretty sure it was Josina Anderson. She said something along the lines where
she was the one with the first report too.
Yeah, it had
got woken up at 5:55 in the morning with her phone blowing up with this news. Like someone needed to tell her that the Browns were firing low-end coaches or like assistant coaches on their team.
So Stefanski, I guess they were saying, was hesitant to really release the playbook, and he wasn't like letting it go and calling the plays because he was worried Watson didn't know it that well, and he knew Flacco just had it. Like he played in every system. I hope that's true in a way, because it's like, all right, maybe next year he'll trust him and let him release it, like let him go, because obviously holding them back was not helping. Same thing with Jordan Love this year. They weren't really playing that well, and they were like, all right, we're worried that they couldn't handle the playbook. Well, let's just unleash the playbook, and Jordan Love is taking off. So it gives me a little hope, but at the same time, it's like,
I know it
worries me at the same time.
As each new little wrinkle to the story of why it actually happened comes out, like you feel better, then you feel worse, and you feel better. Like, but in the grand scheme of things, I mean, I would say Stefanski in this front office's organization made good moves when they replaced their defensive coordinator for the most part. I mean, the last taste in our mouth of Jim Schwartz is not great, but that might be what keeps him here for another year, because he may not get as much run for head coaching jobs after they saw that performance in the playoffs. That might have helped that. So you have continuity there. Bubba Ventrone, it was up and down with the special teams, but I feel like when one big play was hit against them, boy, he was ready to run out there himself to take care of those issues. You saw him in some of those post-game celebrations. He was wearing helmets ready to go as Stefanski was talking about the win and how good the team was doing. So in the grand scheme, like from history, I can trust that this organization will bring in, if they want to make a change and make those spots better, they will make those spots better, because they did this past season. Like recent history tells us that's what happened. I don't know. Some of the reports and like you were saying with the playbook.
Yeah,
and then also like
hearsay,
people saying that,
it's
hearsay, like saying that Stefanski let his assistants kind of come up with the game plan throughout the week so he could be that CEO of the team and be the head coach and be all over the place with the defense, the special teams, the offense, like everybody wanted him to do by giving up play calling, and then he would call the plays. So like, did he not like the plays that he had available to him that the guys had practiced during the week? I mean, look, whatever it is, they're making a change. And if like, there's no offseason that's not going to come with drama. Everybody felt like this was going to be a quiet offseason for the Browns, maybe a big move at wide receiver somewhere, somehow.
We just conjugate up Browns drama. It's just the way we are.
Yeah, and we blow things like we blow news today out of proportion
Well, I had to turn the
because we didn't get the big.
I
like,
turned off the radio today. I was like, I can't deal with this. I'm
wish
not
I could.
listening to this. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm already annoyed talking about it. Like, I'm like over it. I'm like, whatever, dude. They're position coaches. Whoop-de hell, as they used to say.
The one advantage to the Browns doing that and us not wanting to talk about it that much brought us right back on clock.
Yeah.
We got to talk some Cavs. I do need to touch on one topic with the Guardians, too, before we get to our fun topic tonight. We'll get to all of that on the other side. We're halfway through and halfway home till the wrestling guys come in the studio. This is The Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.
Are you struggling to hire the right talent or maybe even find the right career? Vector Technical makes it easy. Since 1992, Vector has provided Ohio employers with a reliable process for hiring and have helped thousands of job seekers advance in their careers. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. We invest time to get to know each client and candidate personally. Vector places people in job opportunities that they are truly excited about. Interested in learning more? Visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com to see a full list of our current job opportunities and to find out what Vector Technical can offer you.
Get your gear at voiceoftheland.com/shop.
Man, we really do talk about it all here on the Voices of the Land. Sometimes you just don't get to hear those conversations. We don't hide anything here. We were talking about beer in the
And our opinions on beer. That's about all we'll say.
Yeah, and I'm allergic to gluten, so I actually haven't found a good gluten-free beer. So if anybody is out there, and hey,
Gluten.
I'll promote your product. But when I was able to drink beer, like I said, like the light
I wonder if
beers,
you might be able to find like a does rice have gluten in it? Because gluten's like just wheat, right? So I'm
Yeah.
thinking, I think there's some Japanese like Sapporo. I want to say it's like Sapporo or something like that. Some Japanese beers. Might be
yeah, I
something
know.
you could
And
try.
I know some places have it. Like when I went out to Seattle for my sister's wedding, there was more places that had more of that stuff because it's. I put it in quotes because I don't want to I don't think it's it would offend anyone, but that's like a hipster area and like choosing to be gluten free, like that's part of a whole like mindset philosophy of like a hipster type lifestyle, or what was seen stereotypical of a hipster type lifestyle.
There used to be a place over on Menor Avenue in 306, and I want to say it was like discount beer and tobacco. There's one over by my house too, and it's more of like a beverage store. But this place was right on the corner, and they moved further down towards the mall. But you go in there and you can talk to the proprietor of the shop and tell them what you like. And it's one of those places where it's like you just grab an empty thing and you could just pick one can of each thing or whatever. So everything's by the can, or you can get it by like the 6-pack, whatever. But you tell him what you like and he'll make suggestions. And so if you're looking for something, that might be a place to just
If you go on
get
like
a mix.
this thing called Google and you type in, is there gluten-free beer and what is it?
Yeah, but
it'll tell you.
But the thing is, this guy's probably tried all of them and can give you a good idea of like if you're like, hey, I like this kind of taste, this kind of beer, he could probably find something that's very
just because
right up your alley.
Just because you find something that's gluten free doesn't mean it tastes good.
Right.
That's for damn sure.
I mean, the cardboard box over there is gluten free.
Look,
So
that's why I can honestly tell people it is
Pizza dough
not
gluten-free is pretty much cardboard box.
it is not a choice.
Oh, no one wants that to be a choice.
And it's why, I packed down a few more pounds because I'm eating the gluten-free Oreos. I'm eating us out of house and home for gluten-free Oreos because it's one of the few things that I can still enjoy from a food standpoint. But I have found some other stuff. I mean, we've talked about it here. Melt makes a great gluten-free, grilled cheese sandwich. The Barrio having all of the allergens all over their menu. Like, I could go on and on about the places that I absolutely love. I know that you are tuned in, though, to the Cavs game. If people are wondering why Jay is not actually looking at me while I'm talking, he is listening.
I'm listening very carefully.
And I listen to Jay as Dean Wade getting out on the break.
Okay, just real quick. It's Save On Tobacco and Beverage.
Save on.
Save On. Yeah, it's down by the.
Is that like a hyphenated thing? SAVE.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Not an
So
SAVON,
Cavs.
like one word. Cavs, man. 66-41, pending the free throw from
They're playing a lot better right now.
it's
Man, who would have thought
kind-
when we said, "Oh no, don't overreact at the beginning of the season"?
they're finding their groove. Look, what did they tell us they were trying to do coming into the season? They wanted to play faster, right?
Mhm.
So they were focused. Their main focus was changing up their offense to play faster. What were they forgetting early on in the season, Jay?
Defense.
Defense. What have they found again now that they're getting into a groove of this ball movement, faster style that JB wants to play? It's not probably at the pace that he initially told people would be, but what are they now doing? They're playing defense at the same time, that defensive mindset. And as soon as they see a ball, their hands are in, winning the 50-50 ball, and they're on their way to the other side of the floor. They're getting quick and easy buckets, using their defense to build their offense.
That and Jared Allen is on a tear, dude.
If he doesn't make the All-Star team,
I'll be very upset because that dude definitely deserves it. And I'm gonna tie it right back to the Browns. What I hope happens to them is happening with Jared Allen. I said last year, either what happened to him in the playoffs is either gonna make that man or break that man. And he made it personal what happened, and he's definitely worked on his game and his aggressiveness.
yeah,
And he is having an all-star caliber
He's-
season now.
taking
he's-
certain people that called him Charmin or soft,
Yeah,
and
and
taking
said,
that
all
to
right,
heart.
all right,
No names, please.
I'll use this as fuel. Yeah, that
Paulus.
wasn't cool, but
Oh, Paulus.
yeah, Paulus. What the hell, man? That was kind of mean.
That's
Like I said, dude, I don't know. If someone's on my team and you keep, like I said, you're trying your hardest, I don't even care if you suck.
Right.
But if you're trying your hardest, I'll just live with your
but in a
results.
certain like there
But
was
he-
a certain
he-
part of that where Paulus was right though too. Like and people
He was-
calling him
he was
and he had to
playing
get
soft,
tougher.
but he's not soft.
He's not
dude.
soft. He was definitely playing soft, and you can't do that in this league. As much as this is a positionless era of the game of basketball, and everybody wants to shoot threes, Jared Allen is a bona fide, legitimate, old school number 5 NBA center.
Dude, if
You
he
still
played
have
in the
to play
90s,
physical
you
as
know
a
he'd
center.
be like a top 10 player.
He probably would be.
If he was in the 90s, he'd be a top 10 player,
And-
but
and-
the league is completely different now. Point being, the dude is bounced back from a terrible playoff performance and is having a hell of a season, man.
But the unfortunate part is we can't say all of these guys have made the full change until we see the playoffs.
Exactly.
Like-
for sure.
And that's what
Like if he comes back and does what he did it happens in the playoffs, happens again, he'll be gone.
yes.
Like he'll be gone. There's
Like,
no
and
doubt.
he's not going to earn much money because you can't rely on him in those bigger moments when each possession matters more. You can't play this up-tempo style all the time. The Phoenix Suns are a great example with Steve Nash, Mike D'Antonio as their coach. I think they made it to Western Conference Finals against Spurs, but they ran up against a Spurs team that was conditioned, that was experienced, that knew that every possession mattered, and they needed to slow down the game. This in the regular season, you can play this run and gun style because you're not actually game planning fully for that team like you do in the playoffs, where you're seeing the same team up to 7 times over a 2 to 3 week span. But it still sucks to say that we can't fully say that Jared Allen is back. Like he's doing what he should be doing right now. Now we're enjoying it as much as we can see if we're able to, if the Bally Sports app works and if they're ever on national television. But catching up on how we do our grunt work to make sure we know exactly what's going on, even if we can't watch it live and in the moment.
Now, as much as a show, we pride ourselves on not being a hot take show.
Yes.
And when we say that, we are saying we don't fabricate hot takes
Right.
just to get clicks, to get your attention, and rile people up. We're never going to do that. That ain't us. So if we have, like we say, we have what might be a controversially hot take, it's because we believe it. And not a lot of people are going to agree with us. And Kevin, you had a fantastic one before the show.
So, and like this came up organically in my head, and like I'm thinking of like how fun it would be to see, but I know that saying this would stir up a bunch. And I think is his name Donovan, is that right, that cuts up our clips, or are we having someone else do that?
No, Donovan Sylvia.
He's probably gonna want to cut up this clip right here.
All right, pay attention, Donovan.
Yes. Because when I post this and people hear the initial thing, it's going to get a lot of pushback. But I'm only thinking of like how fun the basketball could be. Would it make sense? Does it make sense to you guys of the idea of Darius Garland and Evan Mobley as they come back to come off the bench, not as bench players, but to basically mimic what is happening right now? Symmetry of Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen, what they're doing on the floor as the guard and big man plus the pieces around them, to then have Darius Garland. Now he's not going to generate as many points as Donovan Mitchell, but to have him and Mobley then working together, a guard and a big man working together with complementary pieces around them, and you have Karis LeVert that is that ultimate Swiss Army knife where you can use him in many different situations, even in both rotations. I mean, like, think of that. Like, if you could have two separate, like, starting units, and that was your 2 units out on the floor, and how deep you could be. Again, I'm thinking hypothetically.
Here's
and
where I like this idea a lot, and I'm just thinking about it right now. I think it would help develop Evan Mobley, because you're not going through 4 options of, whatever Allen's cleaning up. He's not really an option, but he's your cleanup crew. So it takes away from what Mobley could do. But your options are Garland and Mitchell first, and then Evan Mobley. Where if Evan Mobley, maybe he's the second option on a lineup, it'll help him develop his offensive game. My question is, what are you doing in the fourth quarter when the game's on the line?
Right. And here's where and Donovan, keep going with this clip, because I want people to make sure that they understand. I'm just throwing like a hypothetical idea, like in a perfect world, if there was no egos and no issues with anything, I'm going to refute my own hot take right now. Like, I'm almost argue myself. Darius Garland is a starting point guard in this NBA. Evan Mobley is should be stud, because he is a great defensive player, if not one of the best defensive players in all the league. Just needs to develop offensively further away from the basket. Those guys are starters in this league and starters on this team. And in the fourth quarter, you're going to need your main guys to be out there. It also means, if I give that idea, that also implicates that I think that Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell can't play together. I am not saying that at all, because I have seen it work. I know that it doesn't look great. Both of them are injury prone, and when injuries start, they don't stop, unfortunately. That has really, I think the injuries is part of what has derailed them building the chemistry on the floor. And when Darius comes back, you want to see that build. So in the fourth quarter, they know exactly where each one is going to be in the crucial moment for one of them to take the shot, or set up someone, set up the other, set up a teammate for that crucial basket to finish off the game. Look, I just went through a controversial hot take and refuted the whole thing.
I mean, you could start with the starters as the starters. Second quarter, that's the Donovan Mitchell squad team. Third quarter, it's the Garland squad team. At fourth quarter, when halfway through, however they're doing it, it's the main squad team.
I kind of like that. Like, I know the Lakers aren't doing very well, and they're one game below, but LeBron is defying all things that matter with Father Time. LeBron always sits at the end of the first quarter with like 3 or 4 minutes, and then comes out to start the second quarter with the second unit to lead that second unit. If you start with your typical starters, and then either Donovan or Darius stays in through that quarter, the other one sits and then comes back in to lead that bench unit, and then you start, like, in the middle of the game, you're interchanging Mobley and Allen for both of them to impact by themselves as a big man. I don't know, like I'm like talking myself into it out of this idea. I kind of like that. Like if you could have 2 units that were exactly the same, but
It's
with
like you're
fresh
not
legs,
skipping a beat basically
Not
when the
skipping a
second
beat.
squad's in.
that would mean that Garland's going to have to be hitting his
You'd have
shots
to
at
be
the same
putting
time.
team over self for sure.
Yes, you would have to be putting team over self. And again, that's not going to happen. This is a hypothetical thing, but this is what JB is going to have to answer when Garland and Mobley come back. Those rotations in the middle portion of the game. They got out to a hot start. They're up 25 at half, so they've maintained that aggressive start. The Bucks are coming back on them. They've maintained. The middle part of the game is you come out with that aggression like the Knicks did in every single game of the series outside of one game last year in the playoffs. You come out as the more aggressive team. You get off to a hot start. Maintain in the middle. Then you have to have the top guys to finish strong. The only way that's going to happen is if Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, and whoever that person is, either Max Strus or whoever out there as the starters, like that's going to be the unit. It's the rotations in the middle when you're trying to maintain and even bring more energy off the bench with guys that have gotten rest. What do those rotations look like as we come down the stretch? Because they're stacking wins like they need to. They're building their way into the Eastern Conference in order to be considered a legitimate team and contender. When these guys come back, they need to add to what the guys have done to pick them up while they've been out. They can't bring them back down.
Well, if they're playing the way they continue to be playing next week, I'll give you my hot take that we talked about before the show.
Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, that little hotter even.
Donovan, be listening to every show because it looks like some genuine hot takes are going to be coming. But I look forward to these guys hopefully getting back. And again, this season is going to be determined by what the Cavs do in the playoffs. And again, it's unfortunate. I'm able to still enjoy the journey to that point. A lot of people can't. I understand why. Let's just see how this goes. I'm just getting best of both worlds like I've always asked for. JB brought in the grit and determination, get on the floor, win the 50-50 balls. Just didn't have enough talent to win games when he first got here. We now have the talent, the grit, that determination mindset is starting to feed back in and become an identity of this team. Boy, you get talent and a team that wants it more, acting like they're the low end of the league, not being paid a lot.
I mean, like guys like why am I drawing Sam Murrell? That guy came out of nowhere.
Everybody's got
Craig
this
Porter Jr.
right.
These guys are coming. He was an undrafted free agent. Rookie free
You
agent.
can get a talented team like the Cavs have to be able to go get their own shot and have all these special highlights, but also play with that gritty mindset of a guy like Caleb Porter Jr., who had to fight his ass off to get in the league. Sam Merrill, who had to fight his ass off to get an opportunity in this league. You have a team full of that with all that talent that's there. Woo! That is when the Cavs truly become a dangerous team. We got to talk a little Guardians news that came out today. Just a quick little tidbit, and then we'll get to some fun. If you had, we'll tease it going to break here, Jay. I'll let you do it.
If you had a completely all expense paid for trip anywhere in the world, where are you going?
Oof. It's a good one. Peter and I will think about that. If you got a comment, leave it in the chat of whatever live stream you're watching right now, or you can tweet at us at VTL_pod throughout the week if you're listening on Google, Spotify, Apple, the audio, or we are on the Be On Air network of podcasts as well. I went to Ohio Media School. We are partnered with them, so getting a different platform as well. Got to make sure we shout them out as well, and I'll do a better job of that moving forward. But wherever you're listening, however you're viewing us, reach out to us and let us know what is your dream vacation. We'll answer that. We'll talk a little Guardians, how you can watch them news next. The Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.
Are you looking for a career in manufacturing? Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that is partnered with some of the biggest and the best companies throughout Northeastern Ohio. The recruiters at Vector Technical will coach you through the entire job process and will help you land an opportunity that you are truly excited about. Vector does not add any additional fees and offers benefits as well as free online skills training through Penn Foster. To learn more, visit www.vectortechnicalinc.com And make sure to check out our job board to see a full list of our current opportunities and apply.
One final time, welcome on back in to the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network, on Google, Spotify, and Apple, on podcasts everywhere, and on the Be On Air Network podcast platform as well. I am Kevin Arnold. He is always positive, Jay. Peter Tulip, our producer extraordinaire, along with us as well. We will stop giving play-by-play. Luckily, it's halftime, so we can't really do that. The score is 66-41. Cavs up 25 at the half over the Bucks, who don't have Giannis tonight, but Cavs doing what they should do. The Cavs don't have two of their top starters either. They're doing what they should to a team that picks and chooses when they want to play, yet they are the top team in the Eastern Conference. Kind of a little bit of
they got that Cavs mentality of turning on and off the switch now, huh?
They have that LeBron era.
Yeah,
Cavs.
that time. When they could do it, though.
I mean, yeah.
That team could do it.
And they're averaging close to 130 points a game offensively. Yes, they have Dame Lillard and there's Dame time, but what is Dame deficient at?
Defense. Gone nowhere.
Yeah, so that's the biggest question with this team. Can the Bucks develop that team defensive mindset to kind of cover up for a guy like an individual that's not as good at it, especially when you get to playoffs and teams can game plan for that and can attack those deficiencies a little bit better. We did tease a question going to break. We'll answer that in 1 second. I did want to, if people didn't see it, there was news that broke today that Diamonds, like, there's so many different names involved with Bally Sports, and it just it annoys the hell out of me. But Bally Sports, like Diamond Sports Group and Sinclair Sports Entertainment, like they were given the rights by Bally, that company, to name their networks under that tagline once the Fox line went away. All these used to be like local Fox Sports, whatever, Ohio, Southwest, all of those different places. So news broke today that, especially on the baseball side of things, Amazon is investing into Diamond Sports, which would give them ability to then air some of those baseball games that people aren't getting if they have cut the cord, especially if they've cut the cord. And a lot more people have cut the cord than haven't. It's just sometimes it's easier than for some teams other than others to get those crack streams. Those, I guess, technically illegal streams, but they're illegal, then they wouldn't actually be, I don't know. I think technology-wise, I think the government would be able to monitor that a little bit better, so it wouldn't be as accessible. I don't know. I'm just shooting from the hip. I shouldn't be doing that. That's not what this show is about.
So basically, we might be able to watch.
If you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, you would be able to get these teams. However,
there's always a however.
In the New York Post today, there was an article out there and they tweeted it out. I saw it that way. And my wife was actually the first one to point it out to me, that only 5 of the 11 teams that Diamond Sports has the local broadcast of for MLB. And this is strictly baseball. Don't know how it impacts NBA, NHL, because we know that Bally Sports also has the Cavs. They have the Blue Jackets. They used to have the Crew, which is on MLS. They're on Apple Plus now. They only would be able to air 5 of those teams. Like Diamond would only be able to present to them 5 teams that they could provide those fans with accessibility to if they're a Amazon Prime subscriber. So the other 6 aren't there. The Guardians and the New York Post referred to them as the Indians, not the Guardians. So that was one mistake. Bally Sports has put in their graphics, they had put at one point, they had put the old Block C, the old Cavs logo, but all the way down in Cincinnati with the Reds up in Cleveland or Youngstown, the Blue Jackets all the way up in Canada. Terrible, terrible graphics, terrible naming, all of that stuff. The Guardians are not included in those 5 teams. Now, speaking with some people that I know with baseball and stuff, they said that actually would be a good thing because Rob Manfred wants to make a deal with Amazon himself to have MLB control of those 6 other teams. So you would actually have better accessibility to them than you would through Diamond Sports' connection with Amazon. I know it's really confusing, but as of right now, the Guardians don't really have another plan outside of being on Bally Sports if you have cable and can log into that. It does not, MLB does not allow access through Bally Sports Plus, just the overall main network worldwide thing through the app like Jana and I have that we pay a yearly fee for, we are only able to get the Cavaliers on that because they do not release the rights to show baseball games through the Bally Sports Plus subscription.
Which is so stupid.
You have to have a cable provider login when you go on the app or
If you're
on
not
the
watching,
website.
I'm rolling my eyes.
I know.
Not at you, Kevin.
I know.
At the
Trust me,
situation.
I know.
This is all. They're just baseball. Just can't get out of its own damn way, man.
No, and it's frustrating. Just let me watch my baseball team. Let me watch my baseball team. The other fear is if you want to watch, like if I want to watch the Columbus Crew, I have Apple Plus, guys. I have Apple TV, the Apple Plus. I can't watch the Crew because you have to pay extra, just like on YouTube TV, you have to pay extra for the NFL
Network
Sunday
or whatever.
ticket. You have to pay extra for the MLS package.
It's an add-on.
It's an add-on. That's most likely what the MLB thing would be on Amazon Prime.
I
which
don't
is already
care if I
50
could watch it because last time I tried to use Bally's, I ended up getting hooked up to Milwaukee's.
Right, but
I'm like,
but the whole
I'm not in Milwaukee.
right, but the whole issue with this whole live streaming thing and all these different apps is it's so separated now that you have to pay so many different fees just to have the main thing. And then if I already have Amazon Prime, which we do, you want me to pay more money besides $15 a month for it? Am I willing to do it because I'm a fan? Yes, but I also have other things to budget for. So at some point, we're going to go full circle and everything is going to come back together in some form or fashion.
See, the problem with this is it's the thing everyone wanted with the issue with cable prices going up. They wanted a la carte.
Yeah.
But the problem is the a la carte is so damn expensive.
Yes.
It's not like they said, oh, well, you're paying this or that. Because they'd always say, well, you're paying $70 for cable because, we got to pay 80 cents for, the Oxygen Network.
Yes.
And 10 cents for
Yep.
TLC and blah, blah, blah. And it all adds up. And the thing is, well, that's great, but I can't get ESPN for $1 a month.
And I understand that this is like first world type problems, but like the cost
But
of
it's our world.
yes, it's our world. And the reason why like different generations are going about their adulthood differently than the last generation, like inflation, the cost of living has gone up. The cost to run your car continues to go up. Like the average cost of all this stuff continues to rise. And you're trying to build a family and you have to get this stuff. Like just for my diet alone, they have raised the prices of gluten-free, dairy-free stuff.
Everything's gone through the roof. But here,
Yes.
here's the thing, Kevin, and this may bring us to the end of this is, what is a great way to get access to all these games? Radio.
WTAM 1100.
Yeah.
One of the classic stations that has always had a large.
They used to have all the balls.
Yeah. They used to.
They used to.
They used to. And then there was a split off.
But I mean, I'll tell you what, there's nothing like listening to Jim Donovan call a Browns game.
There's nothing like it. I'm
So-
I'm telling you that right now. Like that was just the advantage of my job was I got to listen to that and hear his story throughout the year. And one of the great stories that did come out of this Brown season. Before we do close out, and then we will give this just to, we have a little bit extra time here. You posed the question, Jay. I'll give it to you again because you had this on Twitter. This is your credit.
If you can have an all expense paid for vacation anywhere in the world, where are you going?
Peter, I will give it to you first.
See, I would have normally said someplace like Mexico because we did that once. It was fantastic, all inclusive type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But lately, I've been really wanting to go to Germany because one of the things they have is the miniature Wonderland there, which is a insane, miniature trains. But you have to look it up on YouTube. I can't really do it justice describing it. It is an insane miniature world that they created, and everything is automated, computer controlled. They have like 350 people work there. They put like 20 some million euros into this thing. It will blow your mind. And I told my wife just yesterday, I said, I want to see that before I die. I want to go to Germany. It's in Hamburg, Germany, I believe. I want to go there. It just looks unbelievably awesome. And I think like a trip out to Europe like that.
All
would
I
be
know is that when you're in
fantastic.
Hamburger, Germany, you better eat a hamburger.
Since your question, I'll let you go last. I have two answers, but I have one answer for myself. I know what Jana wants me to say. And I'm actually not opposed to this, and we're trying to figure out if we can actually do a trip like this year. Beaches somewhere. Like a trip to a nice beach to relax, lay out. Like that is what she loves, and I've found getting
Mentor, Ohio.
No,
So
we've
are you
actually
looking for a really good beach?
we've actually looked at going to St. Augustine, Florida.
If you want the best beach in Florida, you go to Sarasota. It's the best beach. It's without a doubt.
Okay.
The sand is supposed to feel like flour. It's so soft. It is without, and it's just white.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's you go here and your feet just absolutely hurt.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean,
You go to Myrtle Beach and walk in that water, you're walking on shells. It hurts.
Yeah,
And that's when I got to, when I had my boot on, and I literally got it off when we were just starting our vacation. I tried to walk and my foot wasn't used to anything. I'm like, oh God, I'm out. Get me out of here.
I don't really give a damn for
So
the
where
whole.
would you go?
Well, I don't really give a damn for the whole state of Michigan. I'll say
Who
it.
does?
But you go to Traverse City, the water there, how clear it is and how nice it actually feels under your feet. Those to go to a Great Lakes.
Well, Michigan's a fantastic lake.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
It's super
But
clean.
and you told me not to do this, but I'm gonna add a little.
No, it's fine because I'm gonna tell you too.
I'm gonna add a little caveat to it. If it's an all expenses paid trip,
Yeah.
I'm taking a trip around the world to all the different Disney parks. I've been to Disney
Dude,
World.
no.
I
it's gonna
told
be
you,
that.
you get one spot
No,
And
it's,
you're going
it's
to
an
a-
all expenses paid trip. You said all expenses paid
to
trip.
any
Round
where-
trip
All
through
right,
all the different parks of Disney around the world. I'm going to see all the different castles, everything they have to offer.
So
That is my trip.
all right, we got the 13-year-old's answer. I'm gonna give you the adult answer now. Because he's going to Germany, that sounds like an adult thing, but he's going to see little mini things. You're over there want to play with little kid toys and wear ears on your head. If I'm going anywhere, the reason I even brought this up because Tiffany's been watching all these things, and hopefully we're gonna have our wedding this year and go on her dream vacation for our honeymoon, and we're going to Aruba, which it looks really awesome. Give me Bora Bora. I want where they got all the little condos that are
Yeah.
boardwalk out.
Yeah.
I want
yeah,
one of the most
Oh, yeah.
exclusive,
Yeah.
nicest kind because I said it's all paid for, and you're going to Disney World, still bothering me.
You do it at the Polynesian.
You know why you're going just so you could have, since it's all paid for. He just
Epcot
wants his
Center.
unlimited Dole Whip over here. Devin's not even gonna. He's gonna be like, wait, it's all
Hey,
paid for.
double A Anthony Alpha,
will
when he gets
always-
here, he's gonna have my back in the Disney trip, man.
I know if it's all exclusive paid for trip, you ain't going to Disney World, dude. He's going to Hawaii or something, dude.
Doing it again. He's like, no, I ain't doing that again.
Yes, that's where I'm going. Is Bora Bora in the show.
That is a fun way to end a show that started with what I thought was going to be basically a Browns therapy session since we hadn't had a chance to talk. Really wasn't that. We diverted and talked WWE and pro wrestling to start the show and end with our dream vacation if it's all expense paid for you, which I would definitely need right now.
Kevin, I'm gonna go to Chuck E. Cheese.
All right. All right. Millennials are a different breed. All right?
That's for sure. dude.
Disney millennials are a different breed, and I am definitely one of those. And that is going to take us to the end of this edition of the Voiceland here on the Big Play Network. For Always Positive Jay, for Peter Telep, for our sideline reporter today, Jacob Telep. Thank you to our friend Jared Bates, who hosts Illegal Ham to the Face on the 216 Sports Network. He was chatting with us all show long. We appreciate everyone that tunes in. I'm Kevin R. reminding all of you sports fans, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. We truly love you all 3,000.
And don't talk about it. Be about it.
And live life. As our great late friend Mike Allen always used to say, live life all gas, no breaks. We'll be back next week right here on the Big Play Network for the Voice of the Land.